And about 20 minutes to a half hour later, the chest got a little bit tight. I got a lump in my throat, a little tingling in my left arm, shooting pain in my left side of my sternum. And I said, let's go. They took me in real quickly. The people were very, very efficient at what they was doing. There was, I know, 2 nurses, the doctor, and I think 3 paramedics, all in one little area down in the emergency room, taking care of me at the same time. And everybody was doing something. I think 3 of them was putting an IV in me at the same time.
You know, I suffered a stroke on January 26th. I was at Memorial for 10 days. And then it was a matter of having rehabilitation from the stroke. My left side was rather severely affected.
It's just something about coming to what I still call Lincoln, even though I live in Emden. Lincoln is like still part of my hometown to me because I know so many family and friends here. And so I would have a hard time going to the city unless it's a necessity. So I'm thankful we can keep our hospital as long as we can.
When I had my gallbladder surgery, I told my primary physician that, he said, well, would you like to have it in Springfield? And I said, oh no, I want it at Abraham Lincoln. I want it right here at home.
They've gotten me from walker to walking unassisted. I'm back doing some work, fair amount of work, and they've given my life back to me.
There's no doubt in my mind they saved my life. The one doctor told me I probably had about a half hour left. So I'm pretty grateful for what they did.
It's vital to the success of the community. It's whether we're attracting new people, new businesses, or whether we're just taking care of our citizens that have been here like me our whole lives. You cannot have a community like we have without having quality health care. And I just can't imagine the community without the hospital.
This is the community hospital. I mean, this is your hospital. We do this for you. I mean, there's none of us here that do these type of jobs just for themselves. It's all about giving back to the community.
At the groundbreaking of our existing hospital, it was opened in 1954, Emil threw away the keys and said the hospital will be open to the community 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And it's the sense of community about the hospital and the fact that people all feel they have a stake in our health care and in our hospital.
As a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, I do remember the excitement about a new hospital being built, the excitement about seeing this. To me, it was an enormous building going up in Lincoln, Illinois. And it was exciting even back then. I remember those days and those years. I was so happy because I knew as I became a teenager and then as I was married and became a father that I was going to have somewhere to take my kids if something went wrong.
This building has been a great building for the last 55 plus years. But it was really built for a different era of patient. In 1954, when it was first constructed, it was to provide care for over 100 inpatients, patients who came in, spent the night in beds, and required that type of round-the-clock care. And it had very few, if any, outpatient procedures. There was no emergency department that was built in 1954, and the term outpatient didn't really exist back then. Well, if you fast forward 55 plus years, the way medicine is delivered in the rural environment has completely changed. We now have, on average, 13 to 14 patients every day in beds in the hospital, but we see 160 or so patients on the outpatient side. So we're much more of an outpatient facility that has a small complement of inpatients that we take care of. And over time, we've tried to flex the chassis of the building to accommodate this dramatic growth in outpatients. But there's only so much you can do with the building and only so much space that we have. It came to the point when, or where, a new facility was the best option. It wasn't the only option, it was the best option that we felt to continue the legacy that's been here for 106 years and to preserve the mission of the hospital.
When we look at a hospital that's 50 years old, everybody can imagine if they had their furnace or air conditioner for 50 years in their home, what kind of work it would need today. Everybody can imagine if the installation and the tile they've had to redo at the hospital, and just everything. We're talking about millions of dollars. So it's going to be a hospital that's going to do a great job for today. 50 years ago, the hospital we had did a wonderful job. But it's time to get out of all those expenses that we're seeing in an old building and get into a new building. We'll be able to take care of what people need and be run reasonably financially.
We'll be able to solve the logistics. We now have to go from department to department to department. If you're going to have labs or x-rays, all of that will just flow seamlessly in the new facility.
It's going to be easier for the patient. It's going to be better for the patient. Everything's going to be on the first floor for outpatients. It's going to be convenient for people who have young children and the elderly, the handicapped. And then to know that all the patient care areas that are inpatient are on the second floor, so you don't have to think, is it the second floor I'm going to? Is it the third floor that I'm going to?
The caring staff and the people that work at the hospital that you come in contact with when you go there, those people are the same, and they're going to be the same. The people that work there are going to have the ability to provide the same quality health care in a much more efficient and convenient manner for the patients. It goes back further than just this campaign, because the community at large has been so generous in their philanthropy to the hospital for years and for generations. And it's been that philanthropy through the years for not only this hospital, but our prior hospital and now our new hospital, that has enabled this hospital to remain financially strong and to have the best of the new technology and to provide the best of health care. And that's obviously what this whole thing is about from start to finish, is continuing to preserve the mission of Abraham Lincoln Memorial Hospital.
The mission of this hospital has been an important part of the fabric, I'll call it, of the Lincoln-Logan County community for 106 years. And if you're a person who can get passionate behind the work of a hospital, especially a small community hospital, if you can get passionate around that mission, then this project is something that you should consider in terms of providing a gift.
And it's kind of neat because it's exciting times. You're actually blending the past through the present and to the future all in one swoop, and it's neat, it's exciting. You're being a part of history that you will be able to continue to give services to Lincoln and the surrounding area for many, many years to come, and not just continue the service level where it is now, but to actually enhance and increase the service level for the future, and that's what's important.